Hello and welcome to my stream. Tonight we play more of Ord, and first of all I gotta say that I'm hoping that my computer will work well for tonight's stream because last weekend I couldn't stream because of that. So it's been a while, it's been I think 3 weeks. Last weekend it was because of my computer not working well. Then 2 weeks ago it was because I felt lazy, so I was not really feeling like streaming. But today I managed to do some changes on the computer. I can't say they were very big changes because I think that my computer issues during my streams have more to do regarding OBS than anything else. Because now when I check my computer offline or when I'm not streaming, it works great, or at least it's been working great. Of course, there are sometimes updates from the antivirus and from Windows that make my computer slower in general, but from what I have been testing and checking, this has been mostly because of OBS. But today I think I managed to do some small changes here and there, and then I'm hoping the stream is looking well. So in case we get some problems, please give me some feedback so I can see if I can still try to do something else in order to fix it. But regarding the game, we were trying and testing the third mode, which was the world, and I think we only had 2 attempts. It is a very different mode than the other two we were playing, because I would say that at least either we got very lucky, but that's the impression I'm getting from it. I would say that it's harder for us to kind of have an early death or kind of an early game over, and then we can only know the results from our choices like in the very end. At least that's the impression I felt from it. We did get one game over though. It was when I decided to tell that I wanted no humans in the world that I was creating. So the game said, no, you gotta have humans because otherwise it's going to be an unsuccessful world. So that was our first game over. And then in the second one, we actually managed to get to the kind of end of the mode. But then the game said that, oh, this world you created, it's shit. So try again. So the game kind of made fun of us, right? By saying that we created a horrible world that could not be prosperous. So tonight I hope we can try it again. I will actually check how much progress we have done in there. Probably not much, but let's see. Yes, we actually didn't do anything, right? By looking at this bar, we are at the very start of it. And then that's the goal of this mode. We gotta create a prosperous and successful world. But that's funny because in the second attempt, I can't say we did some bad choices and then still were not good. Like, they were still not good or not good enough. So maybe we are still missing something out as there is a lot more to uncover in here. And then I hope that today we can at least get close. We don't necessarily need to beat this mode today, but I hope we can at least get close. But as always, I have been playing this game with the chat. Of course, sometimes there aren't many people participating, and that's okay. When that starts to happen, I kind of start picking the choices by my own and see where I can end. Especially on this mode, I don't see this mode being very good on the multiplayer in comparison to the other two we were playing. The best one was the first for sure, like the quest mode, because that one felt a lot like playing an RPG, and then the decisions were more mind-blowing or like more surprising even. The second mode was very strange. They created dimensions, and then in the dimensions there were some very odd situations. So our decisions were very inaccurate for the results we were getting. Like, no matter what we were picking, the results were kind of random or kind of weird. I couldn't see we doing a very good job in that mode in comparison to the first. In here, it seems that the decisions are very important, but at the same time, it's hard to know the importance of everything we pick. So maybe we need to learn more about it or get more used to what they want us to be doing in here. Besides that, I do have a couple news since like a lot of days, a lot of weeks have passed by. Maybe this or maybe next weekend will be the last stream of the year. It's still crazy, right? Because I'm still not feeling like the year is ending, even though this week is kind of Christmas. But I guess it's good it's ending as well. A lot has happened, a lot of things have changed. For example, I'm not where I was thinking I would be in this year. I'm at my parents when I was thinking I would still be at my apartment. I'm actually going back to my apartment, I believe, in January. But I'm thinking it will be temporary. It's because my parents will be traveling, so to not stay alone in their house, I kind of prefer to go back to my apartment because I can be more independent in there. And when they are back from the trip, I think I will actually come back here and stay longer with them. But I'll need to organize myself on that later and think more about things. But I believe for now that's the plan, kind of. But I'll see if I can bring my computer back there and everything. But yes, maybe it's going to take a while until somebody shows up to play the game with me, especially because it's been 3 weeks that I haven't been streaming, so maybe some people are like not even checking if I'm streaming. Not to mention that I'm starting this stream later than usual. It's because I was making some Pokemon trades on Pokemon Go, as this weekend was the community day, the last community day of the game. And those trades do take some time, so I was there making the trades. Didn't get anything very good though, but yesterday's night I did find a very good Gibble, which is a dragon Pokemon. Actually, he was a perfect Gibble, so couldn't be better than that. And then after the stream, I'll be evolving the Pokemon I captured. And then tomorrow the event is over. I mean, it's kind of partially ending today, but tomorrow it's fully over. You can't get the benefits from the event. But there are some things that I can still get tomorrow, so I'm saving like the evolutions and learning some special attacks that are called legacy moves for tomorrow. Yeah, or maybe after the stream. It depends on how long this stream will last as well. But anyway, besides that, there are also some other news, but I would rather tell them with more people on the chat or something. Um, you know what? I think I will take a single attempt in here. Like I will see what happens if I jump into the game by my own. Let me see how far or what can I discover by my own here, and then I share it with the others when they come. Okay, darkness. In this case, resting was bad, I think. Because in the first mode, when you decided to keep on sleeping, you couldn't really go for the quest, so it was a game over. In here, I'm pretty sure I tested that, and I think there was something happening, and that was actually very surprising. I will check that out again because I don't remember actually. Maybe it was a dream or something. Oh, it's just a void, so never mind. Maybe I'm remembering this wrong. Okay, so sleeping doesn't do any good. Let's go. Let's awake. We can travel in space and then probably we'll be lost in the void, right? So let's create a planet. I guess a more successful world will need a lot of water, right? But it should be balanced, because if it is everywhere, it's going to be an aquarium. Okay, we created continents. This is reminding me a little bit of a mobile game that it was actually a very fun mobile game, very simple as well. I don't remember its name, but it's basically based on alchemy. and chemistry, right? And then you started with the four elements: wind, fire, water, earth, and then you had to combine them to create things. And then the things you created could be combined with themselves, like you could combine two of the same things, or combine them again with the elements, and then keep on creating new objects and inventions and new things. And then your job was to pretty much find every possible item, object, icon in that game. And then it was pretty much a kind of trial and error gameplay of like combining things and test them out. Of course, sometimes no, many times the combinations made sense, so you could get to them by your own wit of like, oh yeah, if I combine this and that, it's going to give me this one result. And hey, Meowser, thank you so much, man, for the resub. What's up, man? I feel like every time I get to see your stream, another month has passed by. To be honest, this time it did pass by, right? Because it's been, I would say, 3 weeks since I think I last streamed. Because I had problems with my computer last weekend, and then 2 weeks ago I was feeling lazy, so I was not really feeling like streaming. So this time, man, it's close. It was almost like a month. But how's it going? Have you traveled? I remember last time we talked, you were saying that you were going to see some concerts. So I'm imagining you have already been there, you have traveled, you have enjoyed those concerts. I gotta say that I have been listening to a lot of music lately, mostly because of the Spotify wrapped up that gives you like a summary of everything you have learned, not learned, heard, right? Everything you have heard throughout the year. And then I have been like sharing that with my friends, and then my friends have been sharing their playlists with me. So I kind of have heard a lot of music lately. You are a month away from 3 years of subbing. There we go, man. So it's in January. You went down to New Orleans and it was wonderful. Nice, man. I actually heard that song that I told you that I liked from that band that I cannot pronounce their name. It's such a weird name. I also will not be able to remember the name of the song right now, but I heard it this week when I was checking out my playlist of musics that remind me of, or songs, right? Songs that remind me of Rio de Janeiro, and I added it to there. And then as I also shared that playlist with a friend, and then he was kind of checking it out, I got to hear that song again because I thought it was a song that could be fitting for some songs that had some chill vibes. Oh, there we go, the alert. As always, we have computer issues, bugs, glitches, but at least I'm online and the stream is happening, right? Because last time everything was like not working at all and frozen. So even though we have the delays, the bugs and everything, at least we are here and online, right? And staying strong pretty much. They are great. The concert was amazing. I wanted to. I still gotta check them out more, right? I was planning to listen to more of their songs because they were very instrumental, very let's say very chill, but very relaxing. But those are not really the words that I was trying to say. Um, Maybe something close to like a comfortable music. It's not aggressive at all. It doesn't get too loud or too exaggerated. It's very like well paced, very ambient even. So I really like that. They were great. The concert was amazing. You can post some stuff you took at the concert in the Discord if you want to see. Sure. Did you take some pictures or something? I'm imagining because of this song style they have that it was let's say an open concert during the day, because that's the idea or the vibes that I get from their music so far. But you can correct me if I'm wrong, like maybe it was a concert that happened inside a closed location, like a closed bar or something, and it happened during the night. But in my opinion, I think their song was something that reminded me a little bit of some other festivals, like Coachella, for example, that happened or that start at least during the day. So if I can imagine the concerts you went to, that's how I picture it. I would guess you went to something open, like in the middle of the nature or something, and then they were playing it during the day. But honestly, those are not too common right now, right? Thanks to the pandemic, like big open concerts. So probably it was a more private and closed location concert, thanks to COVID. Yeah, it is very chill. It's super great. I gotta get some time to maybe listen to some albums of theirs because I also got very distracted with the playlists my friends were sending me. And also, I have been very distracted with my own music too, like the music that I like to listen myself. So I gotta organize myself and check more of them out. Yeah, also I'm still playing Nord, so I'm now kind of going for a. I actually started this cycle in here by myself, as nobody was in the chat. I think I will finish it by my own, but in the next cycle, if you want, you can participate and decide things with me. But as I started like this, I think I will try to see where can I get, right? But then what else did you do in there, man? What else did you do in New Orleans? And was it very far from where you live? Because I also have the feeling you were saying something about it being a long trip of like 15 hours or something, or am I crazy? But I do remember talking to you about long trips, and then I'm guessing this was it. You were down to watch me deciding, let's go then. Also, because this mode is kind of more straightforward, I guess. It's about creating a world that could be successful, so I didn't think it was as fun as the other two. In this landscape, we gotta have some mountains, and then the water is back. Let's have oceans because we created some continents, we had some mountains, we gotta have some oceans, right? And for the plants, everything starts with plankton, so sure. But then regarding kelp or coral, if I think about what's, let's say, more beautiful, of course, coral. But if I think about how kelp can be helpful for like creating a planet that's livable, I believe kelp is more important than coral. Do you agree, Meowser? Because like kelp is very important for photosynthesis and then like for the oxygen production. So I would go for kelp here for its importance on photosynthesis and consuming carbon dioxide and everything. Coral is an animal. It is an animal. I actually would. Yeah, it is right. It's just those animals that they kind of stick to the rocks and materials. That's funny. Why is the game saying it's a plant though? Yeah, right. They are saying maybe there are both. Maybe there are animals and some sort of microscopical plants that could be part in a coral together. So you went to New Orleans and then you ate, you drank, and then you went down there to spend some time with a woman that you met, and then you were in Portland. The trip was 12 hours one way. Yeah, so it was a long trip, right? And then your other trip out to Portland took you way longer. It took you 4 days to get to Portland. It is more far than the trips I used to have with my family when we were visiting the rest of our family in the Northeast, which kind of lasted 2.5 to 3 days. 4 days is too much. And then to get to New Orleans, you did it in all in a day. So you drove the 12 hours in the same day with only one stop for gas and a potty break. I mean, I hope in that one stop you also had lunch, stretched and everything. I'm also thinking you really like to drive, right? Because I don't know if you would be able to take such long trips if you were not uh, passionate for driving. It is an invertebrate that produces the structures that form coral. So maybe I'm mistaken because I'm thinking about those organisms that they kind of get stuck in materials that are underwater. For example, if there is a sunken ship, I mean, the sunken ship will not have like coral on it, but I was thinking that some other materials could be starting corals to be created or like to be living, or existing actually. But I guess I'm completely wrong. I guess it is everything is an organism. Then I didn't know that. I actually thought that something in there was a material or inorganic. Oh, barnacles. Okay, so I was thinking about the barnacles, and then they are another invertebrate. It was 800 miles. It's 1,287 kilometers to New Orleans, 2,500 miles, or 4,023 kilometers miles to Portland. Jesus, it was a crazy trip, man. Was the weather good? Because isn't it winter there? So I'm expecting some sort of snowstorm or some cold weather happening, rains maybe. I will keep on going slowly here. I chose plankton, then I chose kelp. So now I will choose moss. Let's do the evolution slowly. Let's have calm wind, of course. Regarding the animals, we can go for goats or bears. I think you cannot have bears if you don't have goats, or at least if you don't have any sort of other herbivore, so the bears can survive. So I'll go for goats. Or we can go for an octopus or tuna. I will keep on going like slowly. If there are very evolved animals or plants, I will go for the least developed option. An octopus is super developed. I even watched a Netflix documentary about this guy that kind of befriended an octopus in one of his vacations. I think he was like taking a break from being a workaholic, and like after getting what is the word, a burnout, right? After he had a burnout from his work, he traveled to this beach, and then he spent many months in there, and then he was kind of taking scuba divings every day, and then he found this octopus, and then he started observing the octopus every single day. He even placed some cameras underwater to kind of capture or to kind of shoot the octopus, right? Like to kind of film the octopus. And then they befriended, like they turned into friends, and you can kind of watch the whole um, the whole time they spent together and everything this guy learned. I don't know if I'll be able to remember the name of the series in English right now, but I think it's something about My Teacher Octopus or something. That at least that's close to how it was called in Portuguese. My Teacher Octopus, I think. So in New Orleans, it didn't get below 75. Really? That's some good weather then. And how long did you stay there? How many days did you spend? How many days did you spend there, right? It got a little chilly in Portland, but then you visited in the fall, so it didn't get too bad. Oh, okay, okay. So yeah, the winter happened a little bit closer to now, right? Wait a minute, did it actually start? Because maybe it's only going to start in 3 days from now, isn't it? Or actually 2 days from now. So it's still not really winter in there or summer in here. Continuing on Nord, I will go for tuna because of choosing least or the least evolved animals first. They have a yellowfin. We can have turtles or manatees. Let's go for turtles. I like turtles. Do you remember that meme? Oh, we gotta accept the humans. We tried rejecting them, even though they are poisonous. But we gotta accept them. There is no way out of that. Because it is a game over if we say no to humans, actually. And then we have a society. In New Orleans, you spent 2 weeks, and then in Portland, you spent 5 weeks. Damn, that's a lot, man. Are you planning to do something else for Christmas and the New Year's Eve? I was talking to myself in the beginning of the stream. I may be traveling back to my apartment next month in January, but I'm really thinking about not making it permanent still because I'm at my parents, and my parents are traveling next month to the Northeast region, the place where I was saying that we used to travel together and then it took like 3 days by car. They are going there by plane this time. Actually, since some time from now, we have been traveling there by plane because it's safer, it's shorter, and we do have some milestones to be like exchanging into flight tickets or uh, yeah, flight tickets, right? So it's better to do that. It's cheaper than traveling everything by car and using gas and everything. But I decided to not go with them, so I'll be probably going back to my apartment in the meantime. It's going to last like 20 days. And then once they are back, for now, I'm thinking about returning here. Because to my surprise, I mean, not every time, because I did have some problems while I stayed here. I'm actually still having a little bit of them because of anxiety and those things and insomnia. But in general, I felt that I was way more productive in here than when I was in my apartment. And I think I could get um, I could get the use of that for a bit longer. And then I believe I will come back here to my parents' home once they return. But as I feel more independent when I'm at my apartment and I'll be alone, I prefer staying there while they are traveling. But I'll see. Maybe, I don't know, I get used to my apartment again and then I decide to stay there for longer. I don't know. So you're heading down to New Orleans again for New Year's Eve and then you're leaving on the 29th. And then are you going there by car once again? We have an ordered society or a chaotic society. We went for the ordered society last time, so I will go for the chaotic society now. We have mines. I don't know if we should be greedy or not. Like, gold is way better than clay, but gold can also bring some problems. I will not be greedy for now. Let's go for clay. And then we have sailing. You know what's funny? I was just talking about going back to my apartment. Um, One of the first songs I heard when I was moving there for the first time, which happened in 28, was Sailing by Christopher Cross. I don't know if you know that song, Meowser. It's a very beautiful, relaxing song. Actually, that's something I'm still missing to do. I should add that song to my Rio de Janeiro playlist on Spotify because it is a song that reminds me of Rio, because it is a song that I heard the first, or that brings me back some memories when I was first moving there. That's true, I should do that after the stream. So yes, I remember hearing it while I was doing like my first grocery shopping in the supermarket, and then the like the coin has dropped, or like I was starting to notice that, oh my god, this is happening, or I am going to live by my own here, you know. So this song does gives me some memories of that when I was starting to live by my own in a new city and everything. And then look at us now. It's been freaking 11 years? Wait, no, it's more, right? It's been 13 years already. Damn. We can go fishing or exploring. I would rather go exploring, I guess. A frontier? Ah, volcano. We can build something in the volcano? What could we build in a volcano? Maybe it's better for us to avoid the volcano. Yeah, sounds dangerous. And then we found clay again. Let's sculpt. I got an achievement of like noise because we created the statues. This is actually remind me of the anime that I have been watching a lot, Blue Period. Fantastic anime on Netflix. It's so deep, full of messages. That's actually what I'm liking the most about it. And when I started watching it, I was thinking it could be more, or it would be more simple than what it really is. It's actually very deep, but it also works, you know. It gives the messages, or it transmits the messages in a natural way, or in a way that it flows naturally. It's not very forced, you know, or like it really blends well the idea of the anime that's talking about art and like painting and drawing and techniques and everything, but connecting all of that to like your own life or situations of life and drama as well. So Blue Period has been amazing. I'm guessing that probably the first season of it is almost over because I think we got to episode 10 this weekend. But it's such a good show. I'm loving it. It's been very good to watch it. Have you been watching or binging something also? Probably not, right? Because I have been traveling everywhere. I'm guessing you don't have time to be watching anything. I actually watched a bunch of things lately. I even watched JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Arc 5 that also released in December. I have been watching Komi Can't Communicate, and that anime is so good, so wholesome, fantastic. And then I think it's also almost over, at least the first season, because I believe the next episode will be the last of the season, which is sad, but I'm pretty sure I will be rewatching that anime and Blue Period in the future more times, because those two shows are kind of those shows that depending what's going on in your life, you will get that show in a different way, or that show will speak to you in a different way. So I will for sure rewatch them in the future because I know they will give me other messages, other thoughts, other ideas, other experiences when I'm in a different moment of my life. You haven't seen the newest arc of JoJo? Oh, don't worry, I won't. Don't worry, I won't, man. It was good. Can I tell you my impressions, at least? But of course, I wouldn't spoil anything, no. Traditions. We can admire them or forget them. I'm more like forget the traditions, of course, not everyone, but some. But I have the feeling we did that last time, so I'll go for admire the traditions. Folklore. Folklore is good though. Strangers, friendly please, not aggressive strangers. And then markets, they should be... Let's have free markets. Okay, that's good. They are now prosperous. Of course. So I actually liked this fifth arc of JoJo. I still can't say for sure, like, oh, is it going to be one of my favorites? Or Was it like the best of all? I don't have the answers for that, but I can say for sure that it has potential. Not to be my favorite, maybe, but to be at least better than the previous one. That was Arc 4, right? The one with Giorno Giovanna. So I did like this season. Some things, it's not perfect, of course. It's going to have some problems, but all I can say is that I need more because I don't know if you knew it. It's not complete. It's just like kind of the first part of the arc, right? So I'm waiting for more, and then I'm hopeful this continuation will be better than the previous arc, and maybe even better than some other seasons I have watched. But I hope you can watch it when you have time for it, man, because it was good. It was very distracting, and it's only 12 episodes, so you can do it very quickly. But then I need also to talk to more people that have watched it to really get more impressions of what they thought about it, because I felt it was good, but like I said, I need more. Like I can't have a whole opinion with just like half of it. Especially because it was really getting interesting when it was over. So I need to watch the complete thing. We have like galleries. Galleries will be accessible because we gotta promote culture, museums. I do miss going to museums actually. And then we have fashion. Fashion should be a way of expression, in my opinion. It's not just an utility. Okay, we got an achievement. Even if this is a ruined world, we are at least unlocking the achievements. We got the pretty achievement. Pretty woman walking down the street. You know what this remind me of that surprised me as well? Meowser, I have a question for you, man. Name your favorite beach in the world. Like, or maybe your favorite beach you have been to. That works too. I was surprised because I was reading some articles that they were talking about the top 10 beaches in the world for vacation, like destinations where people go for vacation. I don't know if I agree with number one because number one was a Brazilian beach, and it was probably the most famous one, Copacabana Beach. So, Copacabana Beach is good, of course, but it is not all of that, I guess. Or at least, for example, I would rather have Ipanema Beach at like a better position than Copacabana Beach. Maybe the thing is that Copacabana Beach is more famous, and then you have the New Year's like event where we have like tons of fireworks, and I gotta say it is great. Like I have been there twice, and the fireworks show is mind blowing. It's like watching fireworks in a widescreen TV because but it's like real life because there is fireworks in all range of your eyes or your sight. Like everywhere you look there are fireworks. But the beach itself is not that beautiful in my opinion. Ipanema Beach has like a better view of Rio. It has the mountains in the horizon. It has a big rock where people reunite and gather to watch the sunset. It has like people that go there to go surfing. It is a more complete beach in my opinion. While Copacabana, it is more like it's more like a traditional location maybe. But regarding visuals and aesthetics, Ipanema Beach is much better, in my opinion. So we also would pick Maho Beach, or another beach you can't remember the name of. I will give you the whole list, man. This was the only Brazilian beach that was there. But in my opinion, Ipanema Beach should be better than Copacabana. But they were saying that the things they considered for this list were based on, of course, the visuals, but not only. They were also considering how close to hotels the beach was, or like the general service of those hotels, how close to restaurants, how close to transportation, and all of those things regarding structure. But still, like, I don't think the structure of Copacabana is that great. There are traffics or days that you have traffic. There is pollution. There is like violence. You can be robbed. It is not that great. It could be a tourist trap, in my opinion. But here's the whole list, man. Where is this Maho Beach you are talking about? Is it in here? It is not on the list. Let me know in case you have been to any of those that I'm going to say. So number one was Copacabana. That was kind of not too surprising, but I do prefer Ipanema. I mean, let me reorganize what I'm saying though. If I go to Rio, I do go to Copacabana more than Ipanema, yes. Maybe because I go to Copacabana just to like walk by the seashore, and also because Copacabana has some fortresses. It has two fortresses in each edge of the beach. It has the Leme Fortress and it has the Copacabana Fortress. And in those fortresses, they have like events, expositions, and especially orchestras that play there. In Copacabana Fortress, there is an orchestra that plays there every month for free for visitors to check. So I used to love visiting Copacabana to go there, enjoy the orchestra, and then go back home. That's the second reason why I go more, or I mostly go to Copacabana instead of Ipanema. It's because of transportation. The buses that connect Rio to my city are in Copacabana. They are not in Ipanema. If I head to Ipanema, I need to kind of get more buses or take the subway. It's an extra work. Or I can even go there by foot, but it is more far and more complicated. But regarding like the visuals, in my opinion, Ipanema Beach is way more beautiful than Copacabana. The other thing they listed in here to justify why Copacabana is the most beautiful beach for like vacation is because you can see the Christ in there. But I don't think that's too fair. I mean, maybe you cannot see the Christ from Ipanema. That's true. I don't remember looking at the Christ from there, but I do know that you can see it in Copacabana. But you can see other great mountains from Rio in Ipanema, so I didn't think that was very fair. Saint Martin. I have heard of Saint Martin, but I I don't remember how it looks exactly anymore. But here's the list: Copacabana, Miami Beach. That's actually a place I would love to visit if I ever travel to the U.S. Miami Beach was at number two. Number three was Venice Beach. Number four was South Beach. Number five was Santa Monica Beach. Number six was Nama Bay. This is a place in Egypt. So I actually have never heard of it before. I should actually check some pictures of it later because I haven't seen it before either. Nama Bay. Number seven was Pink Sand Beach. And this one is in Barbuda. Then we have Barcelona. Barceloneta Beach. That is in Barcelona, in Spain. And then we have Mui Ni Beach, which is in Vietnam. And then at number 10, we have Cayo Coco, which is in Cuba. So there are some places in there that I haven't heard before, especially the one in Egypt. Also, Vietnam, to be honest. When I think about Vietnam, I normally don't think about the beaches. I mostly think about I don't even know how to describe this in English, but I know their cities are very blended with like some marshes and rivers, it kind of gives me the idea that the cities are somewhat flooded, but not really, because they have a lot of rains and a lot of water as well. But I never looked at those water banks as beaches, so I cannot think on a Vietnamese beach. So I still need to see how do they look like. But Meowstar, have you been to any of those places, or have you considered going maybe to Miami Beach or to Santa Monica Beach? And then changing from beach to city, we gotta go for, I mean, city wise, I guess commerce is important, right? But you can also have a touristical city for sure. It's just that when I think about city, I think mostly about the commerce. You don't think so, but you do want to visit California sometime soon, though. I would love to go to California, Arizona. Man, have you been to Arizona? Maybe I'm crazy because I don't think Arizona is one of the most talked states in the US that people would see as like destinations. I can see like myself being part of a minority of like people that want to go to Arizona. Maybe Americans would reply me like, "Why do you want to go to the desert?" Something like that. But I don't know. I think from everything I have seen from Arizona so far, it looks it has some vibrant energy in there. From the desert, from the mountains, from the sand, I don't care. Like there is some energy in there that maybe it's because it also reminds me a little bit of the northeast region of Brazil, where my parents are traveling to, where the rest of my family is from. That is a more arid location too, with some um, a desert, not really desert, but like sandbanks and dunes, and some beaches as well and things like that. So maybe it's the same vibes that I get. But Arizona has some magic, or it casts a spell on me that I do want to visit it sometime. And the more I look at it, the more things I learn about it, the more I like it. For example, some months ago I was watching the skating competition. It is called SNL, if I'm not mistaken. No, wait, SNS actually. SNL is Saturday Night Live. No, that's not the one show. It is SNS, right? It's something about street league skating or something. And then one of the courses happened in Lake Havasu in Arizona, and that place looked amazing. So I was like, I gotta go to Arizona, California, Arizona, uh, and Colorado. Those are the three states that I think I would like to visit the most. But if you ask most Brazilians, they will answer Florida, because the dream of like 90% of Brazilians is to travel to Disneyland. So yeah, most people, and like, if there was a Brazilian that traveled abroad to the US, the person probably went to Disneyland. Like, I do have friends that went there. It is a somewhat very popular destination here. Not mine though. Since we are talking about tourism, I will pick tourism even though that was not my first pick for this option. Inequality. It can be addressed or ignored. No, it should be addressed, right? Some read oh my god. Redistribution. There we go. That's a hard word. Redistribution. And then we are back to the civilization. It can be sprawling or it can be prosperous. Oh, you know something else, Meowser? Since I was talking about some of the states in the US that got to my attention, I didn't know that Alaska was the last state that got to the US, or like that was part of the US. Actually, I learned about that because Arizona was the second to last state to become part of the US, right? I didn't know that, and then I was getting that information, and then I learned that Alaska was the last, and that Alaska was actually territory by Russia, or like it was part of Russia, and then Russia sold Alaska. So I had no idea about that. I always felt like, oh, Alaska, it's been always part of the US, right? No, Russia sold Alaska for some problem or some reason. And if I'm not mistaken, I learned about it in a video that was talking about like worst negotiations, or like worst deals that happened in history. And then it seems that Russia shouldn't like sell Alaska, because Alaska is like a big territory, and then it's probably full of natural resources, especially oil and stuff. So that's how I learned that Russia sold Alaska. I didn't know that. It is also the largest, you see, yeah, and then Russia sold that. I don't remember the reasons anymore, but if I had to guess, I would say it's probably because of some sort of debt or some sort of World War result or consequence. But I have no idea why Russia sold Alaska. I guess it's because of debt. Like they used Alaska as a way of like finishing their their problems with the US, and then very good for the US, like they expanded a lot with its territory. So I mean, I don't know if they want to be very obvious in the game, like we are looking, or we are chasing a prosperous world. But is it this obvious? Like, I do want this civilization to be prosperous, or is this a trap? Honestly, I'll go for it because this is what I'm looking for, right? It should be prosperous. But then it gets stagnant? Why? Okay, I guess that was the end then, right? And because they said stagnant, that sounded like it was bad. It hasn't been unchanging. Oh my god, okay, so that was it. We created an unchanging world because it was prosperous, but isn't that the goal of this game? I don't get this. How is that not what they wanted? Anyway, right now we got three endings. We got the unchanging world, we got the lame world as well. They even made fun of me when I finished it. And we got the one that hasn't even existed because there were no humans. So I guess we gotta start a new one. You have family that live in Alaska? You visit them and help them get ready for winter 1 year. Oh yeah, right. You do like to like ski and snow sports, don't you? It was daylight 24/7 and warm and nice the whole time we're there. Wait, it doesn't get dark? I don't know if I would like that though. I need some darkness, like the game is saying, to sleep well. I'm actually concerned about that when I go back to my apartment next month. Like this room that I am right now is much more dark than the one I have in there. And I even said I said briefly, but I have been having a little bit of insomnia and anxiety in the past days. What happened is that last Saturday I was feeling it. Actually, it's Friday to Saturday. And then when we got to the middle of this week, I was starting to normalize everything and my sleep schedule, and I was feeling better. But then yesterday, it kind of returned a little bit again. But at least today, I could still rest some couple hours. So I'm a bit tired right now. And my biggest reason of, or my biggest suspicion of why is this happening to me is because I think I should be getting more vitamin D, or like I should be sunbathing more, because for most time I have been here at my parents, I have been going out to sunbathe once a week, and it's been working well for like the whole time I wasn't here, but the past days. So the symptoms I started feeling regarding this anxiety, they remind me of when I was with a lack of vitamin D level in my body. So that's why I made that connection. It could be more than that, of course. It could be, I don't know, things stressing me out, uh, problems that I'm thinking, and everything. But I do suspect this could have a big part on vitamin D levels. So I have been trying to sunbathe more, even when there is not much sun. Like today was cloudy, but spent some time trying to sunbathe at least. But yes, I'm kind of, going back and forth with this anxiety and insomnia. I even learned some new things to like stop it from continuing that are very interesting. It's like a life lesson. I learned some easy massages or messages. No, no, massages, right? That can instantly relax me. I don't think they have been permanent, but they do change my feels or my anxiety right away or right at the moment. There is one that's super interesting that you can use like a pencil or something on your palm, and then you get the middle finger, and then you do this, and then that spot is a relaxing spot. So if you pressure it a little bit with a pencil or even with your other finger, it can relax you. And it does relax you a little bit, in case you feel anxious or nervous for some reason. There are some spots in our body that goes for acupuncture and also massage that are very good to relax. There is another one that's in the ear. It is in here. It's where you can feel like a triangle inside of your ear, and then if you kind of pressure it and massage it a little bit, it can also make you feel relaxed, to my surprise. So this, let's say, insomnia anxiety cycle that I have been having in the past week, it was very good for me to learn at least this new resource to kind of fight it back, so it's been helping me too. And as it's not something that I see people talking about, or like something that people have told me about, oh, did you know that you could massage your body yourself to like feel relaxed? I had no idea. Not to mention the breathing techniques and everything. But yes, overall it was a very, let's say, weak anxiety that I have been feeling, but it is persistent enough to bug my sleep schedule. So that's why I'm still paying attention to it and trying to kind of get rid of it completely and spending more time on sunbathing. By the way, my computer is working a lot right now, so I'm waiting for it to come back before I click on anything, so I don't crash the stream or anything like that. I'm hoping now it's back. I think it's back. Let me see. It's like the total size of 1/5 of the lower 48. Wait, what? It's like the total size of 1/5 of the lower 48. Do you mean the Alaska size? So then you have family that lives there. And then you were saying, yeah, it was daylight 24/7, right? During the summer, it doesn't. During the summer, it doesn't. There are. Wait, I'm confused, man. You said there are is. There is also a period where it is not. Oh, there is night 24/7. Also, by the way, I think um, this last computer freeze kind of broke my chat again. Wait a minute. Or do I need to click on it? No, it is not refreshing, but I see that I think that... Is it Ultra's talking? It is. Okay, okay, so my chat froze and it's refreshed now. There we go, Ultras, what's up, man? How's it going? Although my computer is still a little bit slow, but I think it's going to normalize. At least the chat is back. How's it going, man? Ultras, did you know, I was just telling Meow Sir, did you know that Copacabana Beach was like the number one beach for vacation? It was elected for, or it was elected as number one destination for vacation regarding the beaches in the world. And then I was like, no, I disagree because Ipanema Beach is more beautiful than Copacabana, in my opinion. You were eating a plate of mixed fruit? Nice, man. I gotta confess, Ultras, I'm not a big fan of mango, you know that, but little by little I have been changing my mind. For example, right now in my home there is mango juice, and yesterday I was like drinking it without, let's say, hating it. I mean, I don't hate mango, but it's not one of my favorites. But little by little, I'm liking it more, maybe. And I also got to hear, man, that there is a fast food chain somewhere in the US where they sell a mango and peach pie. Have you heard of that before? I was curious after I heard it. But man, I do think my chat has been super laggy right now. Is that a picture of your fruit salad, man? You would go to any beach right now? Have you been going to the ones in there in Canada? The last time I went to the beach in here was this week when I was trying to sunbathe more, as I was telling me also that I have been going through some anxiety and insomnia lately. Not too serious, but it's been bugging me enough. But the last time it was rainy, but I went there anyway because I had to exercise, but also get whichever sunlight there was for me in there, even though it was rainy. But as soon as it started raining, I entered the car and we drove back home. My dad has been making a lot of fruit salads in here, but I have been missing orange. I love when there is orange in the fruit salad. Orange and grapes. Although grapes are expensive, so I understand that we haven't been. Oh, look at that! Also, you have people in there with you? Like, where are you right now? Are you getting some visitors or something? Also, what the heck is that fruit right there? What is the purplish fruit on the bottom of it? I don't know what's that. But this looks juicy and very good, man. And those are the blueberries, right? I do have them frozen here still, but they are so smaller, I guess, because they got frozen. So maybe they shrink a little bit. Those blueberries in there are way bigger than the ones I got. But yeah, man, I was surprised that they picked Copacabana Beach as like number one vacation beach destination because Ipanema is much better. Oh, it's been snowing and it's like -5. That's true, right? It's been almost winter in there. It won't be at beach until middle June. Does it last that long? Like the cold weather? Lots of stuff in there. Oh man, so what are going to be your side plans? Like, where are you going to hang out instead of going to the beach? Like, in case you go for something nature-wise. It looks like kiwi that has been dyed by another fruit. I couldn't pick like a fruit to guess what was it, but kiwi could be it, yeah. I actually thought on dragon fruit, but I'm not sure if it was that. Oh, never mind, maybe it was dragon fruit. Mango, dragon fruit, peach. Okay, so you have the combination of peach and mango right there. I was surprised when I heard about the pie that was like mango peach pie. I was like, seriously, you can combine those two? And you know what? Maybe this works. You have that on your fruit bowl. Blueberry, strawberry, and papaya. Okay, so dragon fruit was it with the black seeds. I have seen them in the store, but you never bought one. I bought something for my parents to try, which also brings up a new question. Have you guys ever seen like fresh dates? Because that's the fruit or berry. I'm not sure if it is a fruit or berry that I bought to like show my parents so they can try it. I'm saving it for Christmas though. In the Christmas evening here, we will have a big dinner, and we may be having some sort of, candy fruits table or like dishes in there for people to like use as appetizers. So we can have some caramelized pineapple and figs. Hopefully that's the fruit in English. That's the first time I'm saying it, so I'm guessing the word. Is it figs? Like caramelized figs, and also caramelized peaches and dates. It's like a raisin date, if that makes any sense. I'm not sure if I'm describing it correctly, but I have never seen the real thing. I only have seen and found the one that looks like a raisin, and it is very good. And then I'm saving that for Christmas, and then they will try dates for their first time. Those two ladies are oh, okay. They are on your TV. I felt they were in your place, man. Jesus, Ultras. I was like, Ultras is having a party. He's hanging out right now, man, and people are, dressed well, so politely. What the heck is going? And then he's suddenly talking to me here, like, no, Ultras, go give attention to your visitors, dude. Your TV is very good. It fooled me like 100%. Is he watching Parks and Rec? I'm not sure. My friend has been crazy for those comedy shows. He has been watching The Office and he has been loving it. Unfortunately, those shows are not really my thing, the comedy shows. Um, Actually, comedy in general has been hard for me to enjoy. But lately, the thing that has the best comedy that got to my taste was the anime called Call Me Can't Communicate. Sometimes I do laugh out loud out of that anime, but it's been only that basically. But my friend was also not a person that used to watch those comedy shows, and he's been talking to me and telling to me like, "Oh my God, I'm binging The Office like crazy. I'm at season 3 already." He's going through it nonstop. And then I told him that I heard that Community was a very good comedy show too. I have another friend that's crazy for Community, so I told him to like, oh, after you're done with it, go watch Community. But I don't think he knows or he's aware of Parks and Recreation. So should I also recommend that one to him? He actually mentioned another one, but I can't remember. The Office. Oh, I think it was Brooklyn 99 or something. Yes, I think he has been watching The Office and Brooklyn 99. And then I told him to watch Community because I heard of another friend saying great things about it. And then now Parks and Rec. So maybe I will tell him, oh, some people told me about Parks and Rec, so see if it's your taste and go for it. But I normally don't watch those shows. The only one I tried to watch was like Friends and also um, The Big Bang Theory, but I could never really, watch the whole thing. I think it is a stone fruit, but most common seen as dry. Yes, it's like a dry thing that they sell it in here. You have only done dry date. Me too. I don't know how is it in like reality or how does it look like in nature. Fresh figs, that's another thing. I also don't think I have seen fresh figs before. I always buy, and my dad loves it. I always buy the caramelized ones. Let me see if I can find a picture. And then those are super common here for Christmas. And also the caramelized peaches, the caramelized pineapples. Or maybe I should say canned pineapples, canned figs, and canned, right? And canned, um, I'm missing one. Pineapple, peach, and figs, and canned figs. Yeah, these are the ones we will have in here. You get them from those cans, right? And then they are all sweet and caramelized or something. But fresh figs, I haven't seen that before. Dates are kind of like apricots. Let me Google. How are dates in reality? Are they really hard? Oh, yeah, they are, right? Look how different they are. They look like nuts. But yeah, those are the ones that we'll be having here in Christmas. I have only done dry dates too. I would always stuff them with boursin, what is that? Or goat cheese and wrap them with bacon. Oh my god! Yeah, and then have something like sweet and savory together, just like guava paste and cheese. Oh my god, you are giving me ideas, meow sir. I would love to eat like a sandwich of that, of like dates and cheese and bacon. But if only we had bacon here, like it's not common in my family. Maybe salami. Maybe my sister would order a salami table or like a salami deli meat. But bacon, no, it's not common in my house. That's Law and Order. No, it's not Law and Order. Come on, Law and Order is a complete different show. And brie, date squares are a good thing. On a piece of bread, fresh fig, blue cheese, walnut. Oh my god. I wish I could have those freaking fancy sandwiches of yours with walnuts even, so you have the crunchiness, the sweet, the savory, you have all of the textures together. Dates, brie, and bacon, I gotta try that, but it's easier for me to try that with either ham or salami because we don't buy bacon here, like in my house at least. Like my mom would go crazy if she sees bacon here because it's so unhealthy that she's going nuts basically. You know something that I considered buying, but unfortunately it's super expensive? Those almond milk, right? I went to the supermarket and then I found it. I was like, oh my god, this is the almond milk they drink in other countries. But it was a bit expensive, but now I know where to find it. That's Brazil in a nutshell, I guess. But maybe someday I will consider getting it in another time. What matters is that I know where to find it now. So I know it's possible for me to try almond milk someday. Oh, okay, the show was Law and Order, man. Detective Rollins and Benson. I was going to Google something else, I guess. I forgot what I was going to Google next. But I do have something else to say though. Another thing that I learned recently about like crazy dishes is regarding hot dogs. And here in Brazil, I have mentioned this more than once. We have some very crazy, fancy, and all sorts of toppings hot dogs. So I was expecting that nothing could surprise me anymore, like regarding toppings for hot dogs. But I was wrong. I heard about people that have been using cabbage in a hot dog. Have you guys ever heard of such a thing? Because even for me, that I have seen like all sorts of things in hot dogs, even mashed potatoes, quail eggs, um, corn, peas. What else is in there? Potato chips. You can even have like vinaigrette sauce. You can have all sorts of things. Parmesan cheese as well. Raisins is also another topping for hot dogs in here. But then cabbage was a shock to me. Like I heard of cabbage in a hot dog. I'm not sure how to feel about it. Would you say it's too weird? And provolone, salami, onion, red pepper mayo. You do the sauerkraut? Yeah, yeah, the fermented cabbage. So it is common for you then. Why was it like not a thing in Brazil then? Because in Brazil we have such variety of toppings, but not cabbage or sauerkraut. So is it really good? Can I trust you, Walters, on that? I'm not a big fan of cabbage, but can't say I wouldn't give it a shot. I would have like low hopes of really liking it, but if it is that good, I could give it a shot, I guess. I do have something. Oh, yes, I do have a new thing on my to try to eat someday list. I just need to remember how is it called in English. Um, I'm not sure. Do you guys have two types of garlic? Like you have the traditional garlic, and do you have the one that's like a leek? Does that make sense? Because in Portuguese we use the word garlic for those two types of garlic. The one that's like a leek and the normal tiny one with like, tiny pieces that you peel and then you cook and everything. I need to try the leek one. Does that make sense? Or is it a different word? But I realized that I never tried that other one. I will get a picture. And people were saying it's like fantastic. And it is kind of different than the normal garlic, so yes, I'm not sure how is this in English, but this is what I need to try. In Portuguese, it is a garlic. The garlic is gonna be white cloves. So what is the name of this in English? That's the green stalk? Oh, okay, okay, yeah. Wait, you're. Yes, never mind. So this is garlic too, right? You were talking about how people will eat the white part of it, but not the green stalk, right? Yeah, yeah. And then it seems that you can figure or learn if the garlic is good if you can softly cut it. Because if it is like hard or difficult for you to cut it, the garlic is bad, right? I also learned about that tip. So this is just like a leek. That's the name for it. It's not the same plant as a garlic. I see. So it's just leek. Yeah, it's just that in Portuguese we kind of call it like a garlic. Its name has garlic on its name, and then garlic stalks like grass. In English, it's a leek, so it's completely different than the Portuguese words for it. Yeah, it is like a big difference. Look at that. So the sausage and fermented cabbage is super common in there. Actually, in Europe as well. I will open the browser, but I hope my computer can take it. And I'm hungry now, guys. This talk made me hungry. Oh, look at that. It has some mustard too. I bought like a big bottle of mustard. So I need to open it and start using it on my sandwiches. I have been using barbecue sauce actually. I also found this one barbecue sauce deal in the supermarket that I thought it was for a good price. And I have been using it instead of mustard, ketchup, and mayo on my sandwiches. Let's just start the next cycle in here. Ultras, what have you been playing, man? Are you still like speedrunning, Castlevania, and Contra? Have you started Metroid Dread by any chance? Let's create the planet. Let's have the water. Balance the water levels. I will kind of repeat some of the picks because I believe that maybe we were super close on beating the game, but that last choice was, where it failed. I will actually repeat everything that I can remember in case they give me the same options. Because maybe that last choice was the triggering point. Although this one here is different. I will go for the algae. Then plankton. Okay, now it's back to the same options. We gotta accept the humans. The society is chaotic. We avoid the volcano. Maybe that volcano option is a trap. If you build your city around the volcano, it's game over. Clay. We went for exploring. Sculpting. The traditions were admired, I guess. So you have been playing Castlevania and some random retro? Oh, you have been playing some random games? How's your PB now at Castlevania? Have been getting closer to the top? I think you were something around 40 minutes, right? Last time? And then you were like around 70 or 60 in the chart. But I was kind of hoping you have already started to play Metroid Dread because I think you were planning to buy the game, but you were kind of saving it for the future. But like it's almost the end of the year and you still haven't played it, I guess. Although you had that situation of like you only play your Switch when you're traveling, right? So maybe that's the reason why. Good Hood? Wait, what's Good Hood? Oh, do you mean like? Oh my God, do you actually you're actually getting better. You got to 37 minutes and 36. Wait, I guess it's 40, right? So I was kind of close though. And then you're at 63 now. Okay, there we go. I did remember things kind of right then. Nowhere near interested yet. You are not in Metroid Dread. I was saying it because it won the best action game of 2021 in this year, right? In the Game Awards. Although to my surprise, oh, you meant to say good, good. Oh, okay. Good Hood made me confused. I was actually very surprised that It Takes Two won the best game of this year on the Game Awards. It's not a game that I can't say that I haven't heard of it. I have heard of it, but I was not aware of its like impact and how people were crazy for that game. Like to win over Resident Evil Village and even Metroid Dread, and also by being a platformer, like the ages of the platformer games in general kind of have been forever, right? They have been left behind since the Nintendo 64 and some other consoles like that, like the PlayStation 1 as well. And then to see a platformer winning the game of the year is kind of mind blowing and good because I do like platformers, and I do hope that this will somehow, let's say, stimulate the creation of new platforming games for the next years, because now people will see that, oh wait, the platforming market is still active, or like there are still people playing platformers out there, so let's stop a little bit on horror games and shooting games and all of those things that I'm not very interested to work on platformers. And I was saving this information to tell Victor. Maybe when I have the chance to talk to him again, I share this with him again. But speaking on like game genres and like how things were back in the day, I was mind blown that the Nintendo 64 has 393 games. And did you know that 60 out of those 393 games are racing games? It is a lot. And even though I would say that the Nintendo 64 is probably mostly known for its adventure slash platformer games like Mario 64, Banjo-Tooie, Donkey Kong 64, and The Legend of Zelda, Majora's Mask, Ocarina of Time, it has a lot of racing games. And now to stop to think a little bit about it, besides, let's say, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, that has been a blast, like it's been a very, I mean, Forza 5, right? Forza 5 has also been a very well rated and like game that everybody has been crazy to play. So never mind, there are some strong racing games still today, because I was thinking, is there any, fantastic racing game still being made or something, or that could be as competitive as some other, let's say, big titles out there from different genres? No, Forza 5 is a, it has been everywhere, like many people have been playing it and enjoying it a lot. So I was kind of thinking, could there be one day that a racing game will win like the game of the year, like a platformer just did this year? And how mind-blowing, shocking that could be. Like maybe it's still not the moment, but there are some racing games still strong, right? Which, by the way, Ultras, if I remember it right, you still haven't beaten the Top Gear, have you? I don't think you have. Let's see, markets. The markets were unconstrained because that was like more profitable, right? It was better for everybody to be. It was better for the business because nobody deserves taxes and stuff like the government being involved in the market. The galleries were accessible. Fashion was an expression. The city was touristical. Inequality was addressed. And then this is the moment where things went wrong. So I will say is sprawling. To be very honest, I'm not sure what is really the meaning of that word. But it gives me the idea of something that's spreading. Maybe I'm just, thinking on spreading, but it's sprawling, so maybe it has nothing to do with that. But I hope that I can understand by context by picking it. Arrogant. So never mind, I don't know what is sprawling then. But this was not a Ending. Okay, I should Google what the heck is sprawling because now this took a turn that I'm not sure what the heck is happening. Oh, it never mind. According to Google, it is kind of like that. It is something that's spreading and, distributing or disseminating. But then why did it get into this now? Is this a poetry game? This is like a. I mean, this mode is more like be a god mode, right? It's like create as a prosperous world. So I'm trying to create a world where things work out and then I can get to a supposedly good ending. I believe this is the fourth attempt, and the first attempt had no humans, so it was not prosperous for some reason. In my opinion, I kind of think that maybe things could be better without the humans. But this game is like, no, we gotta have the humans. The second one was a boring world. The third one was a permanent world, like things were not changing anymore, and then it was a bad ending because of that. And then now I'm going into a somewhat aggressive world, so I don't know. It's been taunting, we can punish or we can ignore. I don't know, let's punish it, right? Insolent. Okay, an apocalypse? We can pick. Is this SimCity now? We can pick your poison, pick your disaster. Do you want a meteorite? Do you want aliens to invade? Oh my god, I did remember something that happened to me regarding aliens these past days. I mean, it's just a fun fact, but you can pick the tsunami as well. This is now SimCity, which also makes me think like, could a simulator game ever win game of the year, I hope that happens someday, even though it's probably not happening in any time soon. We can pick between a meteorite or earthquakes. It depends, like, it depends on how big is the meteorite. Because if it doesn't really destroy the whole planet, then. You know what? Let's go for the earthquakes that are more, let's say, normal, right? It's been rumbling, right? And then the humans are arguing or panicking. I would say it's better to argue than panic, so they have been selfish. That's not surprising. Is this going to be a zombie apocalypse? Oh, wait. Maybe the extinction of humans is good because when I wanted to do this in the first attempt, I couldn't. But no, if the humans are gone, the world gets boring because it gets silent and it's the end. Ultras, maybe this is a poetry game, man, because it is all about, you know, how your existence matters, basically. So we are important because if we are not in here, we are not noisy, and if we are not noisy, the planet is boring. Basically, that's the lesson of this mode, at least. I got an achievement at least, so that's good. Let's go again, though. We are getting new results, and at least we're getting the game overs very far ahead as well, so maybe I'm getting most of this correct. But I'll need to take a turn somewhere. turning here. Let's go for plains instead of mountains. Let's also take a turning here for lakes. Let's go for ferns. I'll go for oaks. And roots. The wind is calm. Let's go for ants. Carps or eels? Carps are nicer, right? Dragonflies or crocodiles? Dragonflies. We gotta accept the humans, there is no way out. And then we're back to the society. You know what? Maybe the previous choices, they don't matter that much, I guess. You just gotta avoid the game over, but like if you pick ants or wolves or goats or bears, maybe that doesn't matter that much. And then the important decisions start to happen after the humans are involved, I guess. I would try fishing. I haven't tried fishing in here. The traditions are admired. Ultrazar was asking me also what were his plans for like the Christmas and the New Year's Eve. Do you have any plans? Are you traveling? Are you meeting your family maybe? I was even saying that next month maybe I will stop by my apartment for 20 days because my parents are traveling. So I may be traveling again after a while. But I'm thinking about returning here when my parents are back from their trip. I'm not fully sure, but that's how I feel. I should. Um, that's how I feel things should be for some more time. Let's have an elected leader, which by the way doesn't make me any excited because next year is going to be elections in Brazil and it's going to suck. Forest, we can have a lumber yard or a cultivate. Let's cultivate. And that's the reason why I'm not excited for next year's election. I mean, corruption normalized, the result of this world will be Brazil. But as I don't want that to happen, let's go for prevented, please. The city, let's change. Let's go for commerce. Oh yeah, there is that, right? I was not thinking about the pollution. Factories are allowed, but they should be controlled. Automation, that's not bad. Infrastructure to travel or to communication? I think communication is more important. We got radio. Television, cartoons or documentaries? Lately, I mean, depends. If you consider anime as cartoons, I have been watching more cartoons. But I don't think it's the same, so I will pick on documentaries because I have been liking some documentaries lately too. I even mentioned at the beginning of the stream My Teacher Octopus, which is that documentary about the friendship of this one guy and an octopus and how they were kind of living, let's say, living through experiences for some couple months together. And it's a very good documentary on Netflix. And then the guy was like learning a lot about the octopus behavior or like the habits, right? The habits, and also how smart the octopus was. But also, I was watching not too long ago Tiger King season 2, which was great. And then I also believe there will be a season 3 for sure after that ending. And you see, we are back to this BS again. So most of the things I pick, I think they are just to avoid game overs. Ignore. Fatigue. Fatigue from... Oh, we can watch the world now? Is it... It's not good, is it? I'm guessing it's going to be a whole mess. Like, people fighting everywhere. It's sad. And repetitive. What happens if I stay, though? Stockholm? Oh my god, are they talking about the Stockholm Syndrome? Okay, this is indeed sad and repetitive. Okay, I'm leaving. Goodbye. Okay, there goes another ending. If I pick travel, I think it's a bad ending. I think it's going to be the void option. Planet. I would say that having not as much water is better. But just to change things up, I will try the plenty option. Like everywhere. Overwhelming of water, okay. It can be frozen. You know what? Just to see what the heck is going to happen, sure. And then we got a tundra. We can have lichen? Hopefully that's how it's pronounced. It's funny that I said that word and then I remembered a video that I was watching about a city in Germany, which is Hamburg. And one of the countries, if not the country that I want to travel the most, is Germany. It's either Germany or Canada. Like, those two are the two countries that I want to visit the most. But I would say that probably the one that, like, I first thought about going was Germany. And then I was watching this video of this Brazilian couple that lives in Berlin, but they do travel around Germany and the other countries around it too, like Switzerland and Austria and some other places. They were making a video in Hamburg. And man, I loved Hamburg. Like, it is so beautiful. It is like a big port city. I didn't know that, but it does make sense because I have seen some containers that say Hamburg Sud. So it's pretty much like containers that came from Hamburg. But I didn't know it was like such a big port. Like, it's really big. I can't even remember how big it was, but it's like super long. It's like a huge port. And what I liked about this city was that the city has those, tiny cool things. I mean, of course, the city will have, oh, beautiful museums to visit, oh, amazing churches, and the city hall looks amazing with architecture. Yeah, like many cities in Europe and other countries will have those destinations to visit, to take pictures, and to see for sure. But what I liked in there are the cool little things that probably nobody, let's say, talks too much about, but are fun to know they exist, or like if you have the chance to go check them out. Two things that got my attention that, and then I was thinking, man, this is awesome, were the neon supermarket. You go to the supermarket to do your grocery shopping, and then you have neon lights everywhere, like um, the freaking aisles. I think that's the word. The freaking aisles are lighted with neon lights. Like, do you want to buy some snacks? And then you see like snacks on the wall with neon lights. And then the supermarket has like a more darker tone so the neon lights can be highlighted or flashier. So I was like, man, this is genius. I want to go to a supermarket like this. It was super futuristic as well. And the other thing was the miniature city. And then at first you might think, oh, a miniature city, it's just like, I don't know, some Lego things, and it can't be something that big, you know? But the one they showed on the video in Hamburg, they had so many different miniature uh, models, right? Spread around the place. And many of them had either Easter eggs, secrets, interactive things, like you press the button and then you had to find what is changing, what's happening. I thought it was fantastic. Like I loved Hamburg for those little things. There was even another one. Oh yeah, there is one manhole in the middle of the city that it was for taking donations for social cause, I guess. And every time you deposited like a coin there in that manhole, a song started to play. But then I don't remember the theme of the song anymore right now. But I thought it was also such a cool idea, you know, such a little thing. So, of course, when I think about traveling to Germany someday, the first place that comes to mind is like Berlin. But now I must go to Hamburg, even if it is kind of far from Berlin. I'm not sure because I did like a lot what I saw. Not to mention the freaking beach they had in there. Since I also talked a lot about beaches today, they have, since it has like this big port, it also has many beaches, and in one of them they had shipwrecks. So basically you go walk in the beach, and then if you look to your sides, you see a freaking shipwreck that there was like a ship that got stuck there, and they never removed it from the location. I believe that there were two ships like that. So that was also very awesome. It's funny that I got to that because I was saying Lichen in a way that sounded German to me, like Lichen. And then I remember that video of Hamburg that I do want to visit someday. Let's go for berries though, since Ultras is all crazy for berries, and someday I will also get there once I tried more berries. We have trees and shrubs. I keep on my idea of going for the less developed plants or animals options. Grass or more or moss? Moss. Calm wind. A fox or a hare? I think I know what's a hare, but I will Google it just to confirm. But I think it's like a. It's like a. It's of the pig family, isn't it? Or am I crazy? Maybe it's not. Let me see. Oh, it is not. Never mind. It is a. It's like a rabbit. How is the animal that I was thinking then? Oh, it's a boar. Yes, it is a boar. That's one that's like a wild pig. I will go for the hare. It's cute, and that's another achievement. But why is it Arctic? What does hair has to do with the Arctic? Okay, I don't know. Wait a minute. Do I know what's that? I would guess it's a sort of like moose or some sort of deer. I'll go for the owls though. Snowy. Speaking on deers, maybe that animal section. It's just like as long as I don't get or I don't pick a very dangerous animal, I'm good to survive and continue. Because in the end, they all give me the society option. So let's gather the berries. A campfire. I would rather listen to stories. The stars. Study the stars. Traditions. We have been admiring the traditions a lot. Although folklore is good, right? So, schools. Let's go for sciences. Even though, because I have been watching Blue Period, the anime about art, I have been thinking a lot about art, but let's go for sciences. And then we got this again. None of them are good. But just to change things up, let's go for a royalty. You also have corruption in royalty, huh? I guess you cannot escape from that. Let's go for touristical city again. Research. Research in computing or in particles? Computing sounds safer. The internet. And then we have rockets as weapons or space. Space for sure. Signals. You can investigate or ignore. This is like Contact, one of the best sci-fi movies. And I need to read the book someday by Carl Sagan. Investigate the signals. Aliens? Question mark? Aliens! They would never make like a peaceful contact. Threaten. It's a war! Oh my god! Invasion lasers! Overpowering! Humans extinguished. But you know what? I think this is what's going to happen for sure. If aliens ever come to Earth and then a war starts, no matter how much the humans think they have developed their weapons and everything, nope. There is always someone or something that it's a little bit higher. So yeah, I think the aliens will like trash the humans like phew. But I don't think at the same time that contacting the aliens would change anything. I think it would still be a bad ending. Aliens are such a sensitive topic. Hopefully that's the word. It's either sensitive or sensible. I think it's sensitive. Um, Topic regarding like politics that no matter if you kind of promote studying aliens and the contacting aliens in a peaceful way, or like if you go on a, let's say, aggressive connection to aliens, no matter what, both will have a horrible result because humans will never trust the aliens, I think. Humans cannot even trust themselves. Imagine trusting aliens. So I'm pretty sure both sides in there would be bad. Unless the aliens, I don't know, take over the world and then the world is the successful world because of the aliens, not the humans. Maybe that's the real ending here. Plenty water. Let's have water balanced. Let's go for the mountains again. Oceans. I will change it a little bit. Let's go to vines. Enveloping. Then we have plankton and seagrass. Let's change seagrass. Furs. What are furs? By the way, in case you guys are kind of still there, have any of you watched the Spider-Man movie? I would guess that Ultros would be interested to watch it because he was hyped to watch the Venom movie. I mean, people have been saying it's been all great and everything, but I still gotta kind of organize myself to watch. I won't go to the movies. I will probably watch it on the internet or on my parents' streaming service. But I'm still so kind of distracted with the animes I have been watching that I'm still not really thinking on this movie. But I gotta say that I'm curious because everybody seems to be very satisfied with it, which makes me think that probably it has what people were hoping for, and that does make me excited to check it out. It is an evergreen coniferous tree with upright cones and flat needle-shaped leaves, typically arranged in two rows. Oh, it is like a pine tree or something? I see, so it is a type of tree. I would rather go for the berries though. Just to confirm, if I pick the bears, is it game over? It's not. What about the manatees? I love how it says blubbery, but I read it as blueberries. Whales or dolphins? I would rather go for the dolphins. I have been trying the chaotic society a lot, but I don't think the order society is good either. If we build in the volcano, it's game over, isn't it? Just to get the achievement. It is not? Let's go fishing. Oh, okay. It is a game over, right? Because of course, at first it was like you good, but you dead, right? After 5 seconds, there is smoke and it's rumbling. I would rather have smoke than rumbling. It is erupting, so no matter what, we're dead. Ash. It's suffocating. Humans extinguished. I see. So at least after those cycles, I get what they mean by prosperous world now. At least now that's clear to me. They just want the humans to survive. Like this is a very selfish mode of like what matters in here are the humans. If the humans somehow die, it's game over. I get it now. So aliens cannot kill the humans because it's game over. Natural forces can't kill the humans, or the humans can't kill the humans themselves with wars and corruption and fights. I see. So at least I understand the game now. We gotta make the humans survive. It is not like what's the best for the planet. It's more about the humans. Okay, I will try to keep on going with that on my mind. Plenty of water is good for humans, yes. Balanced water is better though. Plains is better in my opinion. Oceans or lakes? Lakes could have more potable water. Wheat could be good. And then let's go for weeds this time. I went for vines, let's go for ferns. Wind is calm. Ants are better for humans. Horses are very good for humans. I mean, butterflies can be good for, I don't know, pollination. But if there are tiny little cute birds, I'm going for tiny little cute birds. See, even the game knows. Except the society, if the society... I mean, an ordered society is an illusion. It's an utopia. It is never reality. Like, it won't exist. We can have an idea, but we don't live in that idea. It's just theory. It's so chaotic. Fishing. Wait, but if there are fields, they gotta be farmed. We got a stockpile. Forget the traditions this time. Let's go for the elected leader. Prevented, please. The city for tourism. I went for communication and then I created the internet. Let's go for travel. Railways. Sprawling. Ignore, because we went for punishing last time, right? Oh, never mind, we went for both. It's sad and repetitive. Okay, so I don't know. Let me go to the menu. At least I managed to get way more progressed in here. But I'm not sure where should I take the detour, you know? It's when we get to the like society, if the society needs to be or should be ordered or chaotic, that's where the game kind of goes to a game over, no matter which one I pick. Oceans. Seagrass. Let's go for coral this time. flowers, calm wind, a deer, butterflies, and I cannot go for wolves. Yeah, this is the pick that ruins everything. But sure, ordered. Exploring. Admire traditions. This is another horrible pick as well. Elected. You know what? Normalized corruption because maybe you cannot avoid it. Strangers. I mean, we picked friendly many times, but we got to nowhere. But then aggressive strangers can't be good. Friendly, right? The market should be unconstrained. The city, we went for tourism and then not much has happened. I mean, we got more visitors, but I will try the industry again. Inequality, let's ignore it. Factories are allowed. And then we are back here. Communication, internet, a revolution. A peaceful revolution, would that work? I mean, this sounds like a game over, but this is the earn a riot, so aggressive. The leader is back. This is the game over. Television, cartoons, and this is it. What if there is no, there gotta be one because every mode of this has an ending that brings me back to the menu, and then that's how I assumed I got to the real ending, or like to I got to a big ending, an important ending, not when they throw me back to the first options. So I still haven't gotten there. Otherwise, they would throw me back to the menu. That's how I know I got to the end. I will change this time. Cacti. Bush. Calm. Let's go for scorpions. Rhinos are cool. Oh no, mosquitoes. I actually bought an electric racket to kill mosquitoes this week. So thank goodness after I get it, uh, I will be able to spend better nights in the downstairs because it's always full of mosquitoes when I'm watching TV or eating dinner. Now I'm protected. I have a weapon with me, so I'll be able to kill them all and have a more easy time. Wasps, because mosquitoes will have so many diseases. And then this freaking pig. It gotta be chaotic. Sure, worship the stars. Horns. Instruments, right? It's better than weapons. We got an achievement, Bassoon. What is that? The instruments could be a ceremony or a relaxation. Relaxation, I need that. With some melodies. I actually have been listening to some universe celestial music, like songs that remind you of the space. It's been good to relax when I'm like struggling with insomnia. I sometimes put that either on YouTube or on Spotify, and it's been very good actually. Those songs are very chill. I cannot describe. They are very instrumental, slow, and ethereal, atmospherical, and they do remind me of space, or like they're very powerful on that. The traditions again, admired for folklore. The leader elected. I still prefer having a president than having a king. Communication, documentaries. The factories will be prevented this time. Craftsmanship. And then we got the meteorite. Is that the real ending? Panic. Pathetic. Yeah. Man, I don't know. Ah, I mean, this is starting to remind me of a book that I read. I think it was by Isaac Asimov. I should check that. But it was, how is it called? It's like choose a catastrophe or something. Choose your catastrophe, I think. That book was pretty much only talking about ways the world could end, from like microscopical to macroscopical possibilities, right? So it talked about black holes and natural disasters and also human wars and things like that. It was a very good book for like a non-sci-fi read, right? Oh, it's just called catastrophes in English. That's simple. Oh, never mind. There is also a choice of catastrophes. Oh, yeah. Okay, so the one I read is called A Choice of Catastrophes, the disasters that threaten our world. But it seems that Asimov also has a book called Catastrophes. That's probably a sci-fi book then. Yeah, the one I read, which was A Choice of Catastrophes, is very good. And even though, of course, it goes on, let's say, very scientific topics, especially when it talks about black holes and, um, black holes, and I think the other one is like supernovas and also atomic bombs and things like that. It does it in a way that it's not like impossible for you to not get the idea of what they are saying. It's not one of those books that are too hardly technical that you, I mean, of course, something you may not understand very easily, but in general, it was not a very heavy and technical book, even though it talks about those things. But it does in a very interesting way. And also, they don't go too long on the topics. It only shows and speaks about the necessary. so it doesn't get too tiring either. But it's a very old book. The one I got was a gift, and maybe if I were going to look for it and buy it, I would need to go into like used books stores and stuff like that, because I don't think they publish it anymore unless there is an ebook. Probably today there will be an ebook. I think I'll try only this one more cycle because I don't know. I'm still stuck and I'm not sure how to find another path. Because I'm always getting to the same results in the end. Of course, that's probably because I'm getting the same things every time, because that's what's the logic behind it. But I'm not even seeing very differences from the tiny and little and small detours that I'm taking. They are not impacting on the results, basically, because it seems that the real thing is like in the end of the game, and I cannot find a escape at the end of the game. So I never tried mushrooms, so sure. Which, by the way, I still gotta try mushrooms as well. I was saying that I need to try leek. I also need to try mushrooms. Let's go for goats. Whales. Go, Willy! Oh, wait, this is new. Mice or vultures? Honestly, go for vultures. Mice will have so many diseases. This is the worst. Society sucks. Ordered. And then fishing. Ferment. Okay, this time let's go for gold. Jewelry. Avoid the volcano. Admire the traditions. Oils. Soaps or lamps? I guess lamps? It is safer? Yeah, right? Because soap can kind of pollute the waters, although oils, when burned for the lamps, will also pollute the air, so. And they still haven't tried the regulated markets, but the unconstrained markets seem to be like the best option here, like prosperous. The city again. Tourism. Inequality. It is addressed. And then we got here again. Man, this one is difficult. Yes, I'm not sure. I think I will save this for another stream, probably next weekend, when